3, spool 5. Spool, spool. Box 3. 3, 4, 2, 9. Good God. 7. Ah, the little rascal. Box 3. Spool 5. 5. 5. Ah! The little scoundrel. Box 3, spool 5. Spool. Mother at rest at last. The black ball. Black ball. The dark nurse. Slight improvement in bowel condition. Memorable. What? Equinox. Memorable equinox. Memorable equinox. Farewell to love. $39 today. Sounds as if... Hell! 39 today. Sounds as a bell, apart from my old weakness, and intellectually I have now every reason to suspect at the crest of the wave, or thereabouts. Celebrated the awful occasion as in recent years quietly at the wine house. Not a soul. Sat before the fire with closed eyes, separating the grain from the husks. Jotted down a few notes on the back of an envelope. Good to be back in my den, in my old ranks. I've just eaten, I regret to say, 3 bananas and only with difficulty refrained from a 4th. Fatal things for a man with my condition. Cut 'em out! The new light above my table is a great improvement. With all this darkness round me, I feel less alone. In a way, I love to get up and move about in it, then back here to me. Krapp. The grain. Now, what I wonder do I mean by that? I suppose I mean those things worth having when all my dust has settled. I close my eyes and try and imagine them. Extraordinary silence this evening. I strain my ears and do not hear a sound. Old Miss McGlone always sings at this hour. Not tonight. Songs of her girlhood, she says. Hard to think of her as a girl. Wonderful woman, though. Connaught, I fancy. Shall I sing when I am her age? If I ever am? No. Did I sing as a boy? No. Did I ever sing? No. Just been listening to an old year, passages at random. I did not check in the book, but it must be at least 10 or 12 years ago. At that time, I think I was still living on and off with Bianca in Kedder Street. Well out of that. Jesus, yes. Hopeless business. Not much about her, apart from a tribute to her eyes. Very warm. I suddenly saw them again. Incomparable. Oh well. These old postmortems are gruesome, but I often find them a help before embarking on a new retrospect. Hard to believe I was ever that young whelp. The voice, Jesus! And the aspirations. And the resolutions. To drink less, in particular. Statistics. 1,700 hours out of the preceding 8,000 odd consumed on licensed premises alone. More than 20%, say 40% of his waking life. Plans for a less engrossing sexual life. Last illness of his father. Flagging pursuit of happiness. Unattainable relaxation. Sneers at what he calls his youth, and thanks to God that it's over. False ring there. Shadows of the opus magnum. Closing with a yelp to Providence. What remains of all that misery? A girl in a shabby green coat on a railway station platform? No? When I look night, joy, night, shadows hardly still across the sky. Back on the year that is gone, with what I hope is perhaps a glint of the old eye to come. There is, of course, the house on the canal where Mother lay a-dying in the late autumn after her long viduity, and they are dying in the late autumn after her long viduity, and the Vicar, vicious, vidration, viduity, state or condition of being or remaining a widow or widower. Being or remaining. Deep weeds of viduity, also of an animal, especially a bird. The vidua or weaver bird, black plumage of male. The vidua bird. Bench by the weir from where I could see her window. There I sat in the biting wind, wishing she were gone. Hardly a soul, just a few regulars, nursemaids, infants, old men, dogs. I got to know them quite well. Oh, by appearance, of course, I mean. One dark young beauty I recollect particularly, all white and starch, incomparable bosom, with a big black hooded perambulator, most funereal thing. Whenever I looked in her direction, she had her eyes on me. And yet, when I was bold enough to speak to her, not having been introduced, she threatened to call a policeman, as if I had designs on her virtue. The face she had, the eyes, like chrysolite. Oh well. I was there when the blind went down, one of those dirty brown roller affairs, throwing a ball for a little white dog as chance would have it. I happened to look up, and there it was, all over and done with, at last. I sat on for a few moments with the ball in my hand and the dog yelping and pawing at me. Moments, her moments, my moments, the dog's moments. In the end, I held it out to him and he took it in his mouth, gently, gently. A small, old, black, hard, solid rubber ball. I shall feel it in my hand until my dying day. I might have kept it, but I gave it to the dog. Oh well. Spiritually, a year of profound gloom and indigence, until that memorable night in March, at the end of the jetty, in the howling wind, never to be forgotten, when suddenly I saw the whole thing. The vision at last. This, I fancy, is what I have chiefly to record this evening, against the day when my work will be done and perhaps no place left in my memory, warm or cold, for the miracle that, for the fire that set it alight. What I suddenly saw then was this, that the belief I had been going on all my life, namely, Great granite rocks, the foam flying up in the light of the lighthouse and the wingate spinning like a propeller. Clear to me at last that the dark I've always struggled to keep under is in reality my most...
Jesus!
unshatterable association until my disillusion would storm a night with the light of the understanding and the file...
Jesus wept!
My face in her breasts and my hand on her. We lay there without moving, but under us all moved, and moved us, gently, up and down, and from side to side. Past midnight, never knew such silence. The earth might be uninhabited. Here I end. Up a lake, with the punt, bathed off the bank, then pushed out into the stream and drifted. She lay stretched out on the floorboards with her hands under her head and her eyes closed. Sun blazing down, bit of a breeze, water nice and lively. I noticed a scratch on her thigh and asked her how she came by it. Picking gooseberries, she said. I said again I thought it was hopeless and no good going on, and she agreed without opening her eyes. I asked her to look at me, and after a few moments, she did. But the eyes just slits because of the glare. I bent over her to get them in the shadow, and they opened. Let me in. We drifted among the flags and stuck, the way they went down, sighing before the stem. I lay down across her with my face in her breasts and my hand on her. We lay there without moving, but under us all moved, and moved us, gently, up and down, and from side to side. Past midnight, never knew.
Just been listening to that stupid bastard I took myself for 30 years ago. Hard to believe I was ever as bad as that. The voice! Jesus! Thank God that's all done with anyway. The eyes she had. Everything there. Everything, all the... Everything there. Everything on this old muckball. All the light and dark and famine and feasting of the ages. Ah, yes! Let that go. Jesus. Take his mind off his homework. Jesus. Oh well. Maybe he was right. Nothing to say, not a squeak. What's a year now? The sour cud and the iron stool. Revelled in the word spool. Spool. Happiest moment of the past 500,000. 17 copies sold, of which 11 at trade price to free circulating libraries beyond the seas. Getting known. £1.6 and something. 8, I have little doubt. Crawled out once or twice before the summer was cold. Sat shivering in the park, drowned in dreams and burning to be gone. Not a soul. Last fancies. Keep 'em under. Scolded the eyes out of me reading Effie again. A page a day with tears again. Effie. Could have been happy with her. Up there on the Baltic and the pines and the dunes. Could I? And she... Bah! Fanny came in a couple of times, bony old ghost of a whore. Couldn't do much, but better, I suppose, than a kick in the crutch. The last time wasn't so bad. How do you manage it, she said, at your age? I told her I'd been saving up for her all my life. Went to Vespers once, like when I was in short trousers. Now the days are nighty on the eyes, shadows of evening still sky. I went to sleep and fell off the pew. Sometimes wondered in the dark if a last effort mightn't. Finish your booze now and get to your bed. Carry on with this drivel in the morning. Or leave it at that. Leave it at that. Like propped up in the dark. And wander, be again in the dingle on a Christmas Eve, gathering holly, the red-berried, be again on Croggan on a Sunday morning in the haze with the bitch. Stop and listen to the bells. And so on. Be again. Be again. Oh, that old misery. Once wasn't enough for you. Lie down across her. Pah!
Gooseberry, she said. I said, again, I thought it was hopeless. no good going on, and she agreed without opening her eyes. I asked her to look at me, and after a few moments, she did. But the eyes just slits because of the glare. I bent over her to get them in the shadow, and they opened. Let me in. We drifted among the flags and stuck, the way they went down, sighing before the stem. I lay down across her with my face in her breasts and my hand on her. We lay there without moving, but under us all moved, and moved us, gently, up and down, and from side to side. Past midnight, never knew such silence. The earth might be uninhabited. Here I am, this reel, box 3, spool 5. Perhaps my best years are gone, when there was a chance of happiness. But I wouldn't want them back. Not with the fire in me now. No.